Babylon Planning Board meeting today, May 3rd, 2021. We have one public hearing. I'm going to ask Jerry. Jerry, could you please lead us in the pledge?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. Going to request that the Planning Board Secretary, Denise Graziano, take the attendance.
Sure. Patrick Halpin,
Present.
Mike Farrow,
Present.
Frank Santos,
Present.
Julianne Nolan,
Present.
Jerry O'Neill,
Present.
Dan Truchim,
Present.
Ed Wynn,
Present.
Richard Casey,
Present.
Rich Grow,
Present.
Matt Esposito.
Present.
Thank you. Matthew, could you read into the record the Zoom YouTube statement, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As you stated, tonight we have one public hearing on the agenda utilizing the Zoom webinar application. We will have the applicants joining us to present their application to the board and answer any questions. Following the presentation, we will individually call upon members of the public who have registered to speak regarding this application. Individuals will be promoted from an attendee to a panelist in order to voice their comments. For the record, there is one member of the public registered to speak on Planning Board job number 20-17AE, Larissa Formachiva. This hearing is also being live streamed on the Town of Babylon YouTube channel. Following the presentation and public comments, the public hearing will be closed. The record for this matter shall be held open for a minimum of 7 days. As long as the record is open, any member of the public who did not register to participate in tonight's Zoom meeting can provide comments on the application by email or regular mail. These can be directed to Town of Babylon Planning Board, 200 East Sunrise Highway, Lindenhurst, New York, 11757, or to the email address planningcomments@townofbabylon.com. If you have any questions or require any additional information, please call the planning department at 631-957-3103.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Now, Richard Casey, counsel.
Yes,
Planning
Mr.
Board.
Chairman. Thank you. This planning board meeting is taking place today remotely in compliance with the open meetings laws of the state of New York and the requirements of the executive order number 202.101 of Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. Planning Board Secretary Denise Graziano will now read the statement into the record regarding the veracity of all testimony provided before this board.
Planning Board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the Planning Board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void.
Okay. Thank you very much. Could you call the first item on the agenda, the public hearing?
Sure. The first item is a public hearing, site plan review, change of zone, Planning Board job number 20-17AE. Larissa Formachiva proposes to undergo interior alterations to the first floor of the existing building in order to construct a 2,194 square foot medical office with storage on the second floor. The applicant is proposing a change of zone to the adjacent lot 121 West Highway, at West Sunrise Highway, from Residence B to Business EB in order to construct additional parking for the office along with associated site improvements.
Okay, thank you very much. Who is here on behalf of the applicant?
Gerard Glass, I'm the attorney for the applicant. In addition, Tina Paris is the project architect, and the applicant, Larissa Formachiva, is here as well.
All right, thank you very much. Please proceed, Mr. Glass.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for entertaining this application this evening. This is a site plan application that's made in connection with Dr. Formachiva's build out of an existing building at the site for her OB/GYN practice. She's proposing to rezone the adjacent lot at 121 West Sunrise Highway from Residence B to Business EB for additional parking in connection with this use. Dr. Formacheva is a 20-plus year practitioner of OBGYN. She is currently situated at 475 Sunrise Highway down the block. Her partners in a practice are retiring, and she is planning on continuing the next half of her career at this location with your approval. She has a significant Babylon patient base, as you can imagine, having practiced in Babylon town for so long. It's her plan to rehabilitate this building, which, as I recall, was occupied by, I think, a computer repair facility. Her refurbishment of the structure is going to include new siding, windows, doors, a roof if it's needed. She's going to refurbish the existing parking lot, and she's going to add a new parking lot with drainage and lighting, of course, to code. In addition to your site plan approval, this application requires town board approval on the rezoning. It is deficient by one space, we believe, from a parking requirement, one spot shy. 24 spaces are required, and it shows 23. The site's been vacant for some time, and we think that this is a good use for the site, given the fact that this is a solo practitioner with only 4 staff members. It is compliant with the town of Babylon's Planning and Engineering Department recommendations. We have submitted, our latest submission. It's been going on for quite a while with COVID, but the latest submission, we believe, substantially complies with most all town requests. If planning has anything else, I know I spoke with Brian Bishop about it and had some correspondence with him over the last few days, and there are some tweaks that may be required. We're certainly happy to do that. The project is sewered. The refuse is by private car. Refuse is nominal for this type of use. Medical waste will be disposed of strictly in accordance with proper industry guidelines and in accordance with law. I don't believe there's any traffic issues. Nelson and Pope had done an evaluation, and I believe that we're good on that issue. There are no DOT issues that I'm aware of. I believe we've maintained sufficient buffer zones in the way the site is laid out. I don't think this is going to have any impact on the neighboring sites, and the nature of the medical practice itself in regards to its hours of operation is such that generally not a burden on the adjacent neighbors. Pretty non-intrusive use. We're happy to entertain any questions. Tina Paris, the project architect, is here, as is the doctor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there something that the architect would like to I'd like to call the architect up to walk us through your plans for the area and the parking.
Sure. It's kind of a unique site because this is a condition.
Hold on.
Oh,
I have
sorry.
to swear. I apologize.
Oh, sure, sorry.
I have to swear your name. Could you please state your name and address
Tina
for the
Paris.
record?
Sure. Tina Paris, 490 Wheeler Road, Hauppauge, New York.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Sure. Sorry about that. So what I was mentioning is that this is kind of a unique site in that it is a shared entryway. For the 2 lots, there's actually a building on the other side. The parking lot that you see to the right is actually belong to the building to the right. And so they have a standing agreement that she will allow this person to utilize her curb cut. And on a rare occasion, if she needs to just use one of his or 2 of his spots, it's not a big deal. But in the interim, we've also provided some land bank parking for the employees in the back to kind of ease up some of the parking in the front for any overflow. And we have the refuse in that one area where it's not being utilized by anything, because our anticipation is that the garbage pickup will be occurring during off hours, either super early in the morning or very late at night. And Mrs. Dr. Formacheva will be occupying the first floor only at this point. She'll be utilizing the entire floor for her practice. There is currently a full basement and a second story. However, those two areas will remain vacant for now. And as her business begins to grow, she will eventually come back to the board, probably in need of a variance for the parking and in order to develop any further exam rooms for her business.
Do any of the board members have any questions of the architect?
Could you show where the entrance to the building is?
Yes, it's right in the front where those two door swings are, right there.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, I do.
Sure.
I noticed for the residential lot that you're having changed to commercial for more parking. You've done a good job in buffering what is to the west, a residential lot that may have a house there at some point, and to the north, which is against the residential property. Curious about the gap that I see that runs from the street south between the building and the house that exists there, that there's no buffer for that space there. And that's the area where the neighbor looks at the side of the building.
I understand that. Well, there's two considerations here. One, if you notice, there's a shed just to the left of that. So that is an area that just by physical observation, it's much of a utilitarian portion of their property as well. But aside from that, that happens to be a sewer easement. And that could, at any point in time, be accessed by the local municipality. And I feel like if we overwhelm it too much with landscaping, it might become an issue. And the building has been there for quite a long time.
Yes.
I'm concerned that the growth, the opportunity for growth there may not be as available with the sunlight, the way the sun moves through the site. So we went ahead and added more foliage towards the rear of the building to kind of shield some of the parking, because that again becomes more of a visual access point for the neighbor to the left.
But so the landscaping you have to the north that goes from along the driveway to the street is on the same sewer easement, is that correct?
It is. And it wasn't, yeah, it is. It's not something that it's something that we can discuss with the town. I don't know if that's going to be an issue, but I felt like it would be sort of a trade-off in that we can provide some landscaping for the cars, for the parking, because typically it's the parking that causes more of a disturbance than the building. The building is stationary, it doesn't go anywhere, but the cars coming in and out, the buffer tends to be a little bit easier to manage because you're not seeing all the activity, especially if you're, in your house having dinner or something. Excuse me. So, but as you can see from the aerial view, that's where their driveway is. That's where the active part of their property is. I'm sorry, they have a second driveway there, I guess.
Yes.
I noticed a bunch of stuff there. There's another shed in there at the lower part. So the one shed is documented, the other one not so much.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, honestly, but it didn't seem like it was an area that was particularly occupied by the homeowner in terms of any kind of recreation.
I'm sorry, but I have to disagree. I'd rather see those plantings that are up by that second driveway at the street put between the house and the building.
Okay.
The rear yard is the area where people are going to spend more time than they will on a driveway.
Sure. All right, then I'm sure, it's just, I don't know if you've ever seen what a root system can do to an underground piping system, but it can be problematic. But, that's your call. If that's what you want, then that's what we'll put.
Okay.
That's just an observation.
Yeah, no, I get that.
All
And I
right.
completely understand that.
Okay.
Or even perhaps the existing chain link fence. I don't know the condition of that. Usually they're kind of run down. Perhaps the privacy chain link that's more appealing.
We could do that. We could definitely explore different options. Absolutely. I'm not entirely sure who that fence belongs to. I believe it looks like it's it's right on the cusp. So I'm not entirely sure who the fence belongs to, but That's not an issue. We can definitely prescribe some kind of treatment for the fence to give it a little bit more. But but from I would say about from the first story up, it looks like a residential building because we have 2 dormers on both sides.
Right.
So it doesn't
Mhm.
look like a commercial building. It
Right.
doesn't look like yeah, there you go. So what we're looking at there to the bottom right is the view of that you would see from that end, and actually more towards where the dormers start, because the other part is still facing the parking. And so it looks more like a residential building. It's a white clapboard siding with 2 doghouse dormers on a gable roof.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions?
The hours of operation?
Edwin, go ahead. Hours of operation.
Hours of operation. They will probably vary. I think Larissa could probably speak to that. That's
All right.
Dr. Formachiva.
Okay, we'll hold that question for the doctor.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions for the architect? No. Can I go back to the council, to Mr. Glass for a second?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
can I just?
Okay, I'm
raise-
sorry, Rich Grove, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So, we got this site plan last week. We didn't comment yet, but there's a new location for the dumpster, and we always try to avoid conflicts with parking spaces. And that the reason is if there's a later pickup, then they can't access. We also like the radii to be as minimal as possible. In fact, we like to have a straight on, where the truck comes in, grabs the box, and then can back out. So we'd like to confer with the architect, after the meeting, and maybe we can come up with a better location for that refuse enclosure.
All right,
Sure.
thank you very much. So we've got 2 items so far on the, with the planning department. The plantings and the refuse container. Mr. Glass, do you have a moment? I want to come back to you. I need to, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You received the memo from Rachel Scoffo that was dated April 28th, Rachel Scoffo being the Commissioner of Planning. Have you had a chance to review that memorandum?
Is that the memo dealing with the issue of,
No, it is the memo regarding all of the conditions, covenants, restrictions by the, have you had a chance to review that?
Yes, I have, and
Okay.
my client is familiar with the general covenants and restrictions that would be imposed on an application like this,
So
including
does
those.
your I'm sorry, go ahead. Does your client have any questions or comments or objections to any of the items listed as conditions and covenants and restrictions?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much. I meant to ask you that after your presentation, so I apologize for bringing it up. Is the doctor there?
I believe we do have Dr. Formachiva here. I'll just ask that she
Okay.
unmutes herself.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. We can hear you.
Wonderful. Okay, what's the question?
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Larissa Fomicheva. You need my home address or address of the building we're talking about?
No, your home address for the
My
record.
home address. It's 21 Cobbler's Lane in Dix Hills, New York.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I am. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see me.
That's okay. We don't need to see you as long as you say yes. There was a question regarding hours of operation. So maybe you could discuss that and how you see the flow of your patients in and out of your office.
Well, typically hours of operation is probably around 7 to 8 hours a day. One day it's going to be morning hours, some day going to be evening hours, but probably no early than 7:30 in the morning to start the office, and no later after 9 p.m. I think. Right now I'm working anywhere between 8 and 8 p.m., but not 12 hours a day. Usually 7 to 8 hours a day.
Okay. Do any of the board members have any additional questions for the doctor? No. Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Matthew, are there any members of the public that would like to address the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have one member of the public registered to participate, Joanne Flora. She's with us now, and I'm going to promote her to a panelist so that she can speak.
Okay.
Joanne, as you join us, I'm just going to ask that you unmute yourself so that you can address the board.
Okay, I believe I'm unmuted.
You are.
Okay,
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
okay. My name is Joanne Flora. The mailing address is 2611 Central Avenue, Baldwin, New York. My husband is the principal of TY Builders that owns the 55 West Sunrise Highway, which is the adjoining building in that lot.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, the biggest problem, my husband is sorry he's not able to be with us tonight. He fell, injured his shoulders in rehab. It's a long story, but
Well, we're sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Go
thank you. The biggest problem with regarding that whole area is parking. 7 spots in that lot belong to the building at 55 West Sunrise, and they're usually the ones directly behind the building. The problem when there was only 2 people in the 57 building was really a lot of parking chaos. If you start having a building that's going to have people coming in from 7:30 in the morning till 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night, parking is going to become problematic. And the thing has to be that those 7 parking spots have to be maintained for the 55 building. If they're coming in and out of Sunrise Highway, they're probably automatically going to go to the right, which is where those 7 parking spots are. If it's possible to close off that opening for them and have them come in from the other parking side, might give a little bit of a respite, but those parking spots have to be maintained for the 55 building. If the entryway can be put closer to the other side of the building where the entry, a double entry maybe on the west side of the building, that would again lessen the people going to the east side of the parking lot for parking. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the law. I'm not familiar with, the procedures or the planning, rules and regulations, but there has to be some way to basically preserve those parking spots. I don't now. Also, the architect mentioned something about an agreement with regarding the shared driveway. Yes, I can't answer that question, and I would have to question it. I don't really know what the legalities of that are.
Okay, thank you very much. We will keep the record open. And if there's any additional information you'd like to bring to our attention regarding the shared driveway, please do, or you could call the planning department directly. Matthew, can you go back to the site plan so we could look at exactly what was just brought to our attention? Okay. So Matthew, why don't you walk us through this?
Yeah, so I think you can kind of see the property lines, and I think it might be a little clearer on the aerial.
Okay,
The current property lines.
Yeah.
So the site plan for this application is regarding the 2 highlighted properties in red. And there is a shared access or cross-access agreement between these 2 properties, as they have 1 curb cut, and there's an access between the 2 properties. I believe a copy of that cross-access agreement was submitted to the planning department and is in the planning file. But you can see, the site plan pertains to those 2 particular parcels, and the parking calculations and the improvements on the site plan are related to those specific parcels, not the 55 Sunrise property.
Okay.
Right. I have a question.
Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, is there any signage now, or has there ever been any signage indicating that the parking for 55 is on the right side of that entrance? Or the second part of that question is there any signage or striping or any indication for someone entering the site which side they should park on?
Is that question for me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I believe there is signage directly behind the parking spots abutting the building there. If I haven't been there in a while, I believe there was signage that said parking for 55. There's nothing that leads people to one direction or the other when you go in from the Sunrise Highway entrance. So if somebody is coming in and the building is directly in front of them and there's a parking spot on the right, that's the direction they're going to go in.
Right, and they don't see, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, that's all right.
So somebody wouldn't see the sign until they went into the right and were parking in a stall against 55 that says this is for 55.
I believe so, yes.
And if they don't know the address of the building, they don't know it's not for the doctor.
That's correct.
So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, and this is to the architect, that maybe some signage and striping or something that delineates two different parking areas might help alleviate that.
Okay, we'll get back to the architect
Great.
after we are finished with the testimony currently being heard. All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring to our attention?
The whole issue is with regard to parking. Is there any way to bring them in from that east side of the building where they're going to have the main part of their parking and eliminate them coming in and out of the Sunrise Highway exit?
Okay.
Or maybe just as an exit, but not as an entrance.
Right.
Again, I don't know if those things are possible. I mean, like I said,
our planning staff can look into that and report back. So thank you. Thank you very much for speaking tonight and bringing those items to our attention.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Matthew, is there anyone else that would like to address the board? No.
For the record, Mr. Chairman, there are none. Only one member was registered to speak tonight.
All right. Let's go back to Mr. Glass for a second and go through a couple of the issues that were raised.
Well, with respect to there is an access agreement that is of record and, in file with the county clerk. Some concept of signage is a good one. That I'm sure Tina Paris can come up with some recommendations in conjunction with planning to offer the appropriate signage. I don't know that, creating a whole new curb cut is the direction it should go in, given the fact that there is a cross-access agreement, not a right to use one another's parking lots. They're separate lots. I think with respect to the rest of the recommendations regarding plantings, the applicant is amenable to following whatever directive the board decides as to where you'd like those plantings. And in terms of the refuse location, we're very keenly aware of trying to preserve every parking spot. We think that it's a very light use in terms of refuse, but we wouldn't want that to hold the application up, and we're willing to comply with whatever requirements planning imposes in that regard as well. With respect to the issue of the covenants and restrictions, the doctor is well aware of the fact that if there's any change in the use, as is a matter of town code, that she'll have to come back to the planning board for approval, as well as probably the other boards if the use is expanded in its to the extent of its intensity in any way. Other than that, I think that we've gotten over the last year or so most of the flies out of the way, and we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Glass. We appreciate that. Matthew, what's next? We have to set a date for the next time we'll reconsider this.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. The revisions that were recently submitted are still under review by a few departments. So we'll wait for those comments to come back, as well as address some of the items that were raised during tonight's hearing. The planning department recommends extending the record on this matter to May 24th, 2021.
Okay. Could I have a motion to extend the record to May 24th? Motion by Ed Wynn,
Motion.
second by Jerry O'Neill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your time. Have a good
You're
evening.
welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move to item B, work session, lot line adjustment, planning board job number 21-07L, Linton Concepcion.
Matthew?
Yes, everything is in good order with this application, Mr. Chairman. This was a informational hearing that was heard last week. The record was closed as all items, all departmental comments had been addressed. This was simply shifting a lot line over approximately 22 feet to the east to accommodate the driveways between the two houses. And I'll defer to Mr. Casey regarding the resolution.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you recall last week, this is a lot line adjustment. Both newly reconfigured lots will be fully conforming. The only impacted improvements on the parcel are to shift a driveway a few feet one way or the other. And it's on for consideration, and the resolution is in good order.
So we can go directly to the resolution?
Yes.
We
it was
closed that record? Okay.
Closed last week.
All right, thank you very much. So we need a motion to approve, a motion by Dan to approve,
Motion.
second by Frank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Item D, architectural review, application number 135870, Mateo Cataldo, expansion of an existing house.
Matt?
This application is in good order, Mr. Chairman. This is simply a rear addition to an existing home on Mount Vernon Place in West Babylon. All applicable variances have been approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals, and planning does not object to the approval of this architectural review.
Okay, are there any questions by any of the members of the board? Okay, hearing none, we need a motion to approve. Motion by Michael,
Motion.
second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved.
Communications number 1, letter dated March 3rd, 2021, from the Long Island Civic Alliance regarding a moratorium on multifamily dwellings.
Okay, read and filed.
Number 2, letter dated April 20th, 2021, from the Long Island Civic Alliance regarding a moratorium on multifamily dwellings.
Read and filed.
Item 3, letter dated April 24th, 2021, from Elizabeth Ranker to the Town of Babylon Planning Board regarding Planning Board Job Number 18-25A, Gale Grace Estates Modified, expressing opposition to the applicant's proposal.
Read and filed.
Number 4, letter from Linda to the Town of Babylon regarding Planning Board Job Number 18-25A, Gale Grace Estates Modified, expressing opposition to the applicant's proposal.
Read and filed.
The minutes are still pending, so we're going to move to page 3 for the reserved calendar. First item, public hearing date December 10th, 2018. Planning Board Job Number 15-35AE, Inette Chowdhury.
Matthew?
Yes, the applicant just got to us some items that were pending, most importantly, a survey and written meets and bounds description that has been reviewed and is acceptable. So we can now refer this application to the town board for the change of zone. This board has already made their referral resolution in February of this year, but we were pending these items to make that referral internally. Now that we have them, that process is underway. And as we wait for this to go to town board, the planning staff recommends extending the record to June 14th, 2021.
Okay. Motion to extend the record to June 14th, 2021. A motion by Julianne,
Motion to extend.
Second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Gonna move to page 4, public hearing date November 16th, 2020. Planning Board job number 16-19AF, Acadia Republic Farmingdale LLC.
This application is still under review by a number of different departments. Planning staff recommends extending the record to June 7th, 2021.
Okay. Let's see, motion by Jerry to extend the record.
Motion to extend.
Second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Gonna move to page 5, public hearing date January 4th, 2021. Planning Board job number 20-07ADIN, Bowler Management Corp.
This matter is just pending submission of revisions from the applicant. I believe we're just trying to work out a few minor issues regarding signage on the site. Planning staff recommends extending the record to May 17th, 2021.
Okay. Motion to extend by Frank.
Motion to extend.
Second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Public hearing date April 12th, 2021. Planning Board job number 21-02A, Crossroads Shopping Center LLC.
This matter as well is also pending revisions from the applicant. I believe the applicant just perfected their application to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we should be expecting revised plans shortly to this board for some very minor issues on the site plan regarding some details and things of that nature. But this is for the municipal courthouse and office building on Albany Avenue and Great Neck Road. Planning staff recommends extending the record to May 17th, 2021.
Okay. Motion by Edwin to extend the record to May 17th, 21.
Motion to extend.
Okay. Second by Julianne.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Okay, so we are going to move to the addendum, architectural review, application number 137163, Thomas DeCirio, expansion of an existing house.
This is a second-story addition to an existing home on 12th Street in West Babylon. All variance approvals have been granted, and planning staff has no objection to the approval of this architectural review.
Okay, let's see, a motion by Dan.
Motion.
Approved. Second by Frank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
All right, item 2, application number 136629, Rafe Nenegin, expansion of an existing house.
Also a second-story addition to an existing home. This one located on Lloyd Avenue in North Babylon. Also has received all of its approvals for variances from the Zoning Board of Appeals, and all other comments are satisfied. No objection to the approval of this architectural review.
Okay, motion by Michael,
Motion.
second by Dan.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
That's it on the agenda. I just like to go back, Matt, to the 2 that we extended the record to May 17th, which was Bola and Crossroads.
Oh, yeah.
I know we were talking about possibly not having a meeting that night, so I'm not sure if we should change that date.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, May 17th, I don't think we're gonna have a meeting. There's no hearing scheduled. We do have a hearing scheduled for next week, and then we will have something scheduled for the 24th of May, so we probably won't meet on the 17th. So as a result, for both those matters, I think planning staff would recommend that we push that extension date back 1 week to May 24th.
Richard, do we need to do a resolution for each one of those?
Yeah, we'll amend our resolution extending those 2 now to the 24th. So you have one for Bola and one for Crossroads.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the BOLA extension. Motion by Dan,
Motion.
second by Frank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. And then Crossroads, we need a resolution to change that to the 24th. Motion by Jerry,
Motion.
second by Michael.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
And that's all we have on the agenda tonight.
Okay. Matthew, anything you want to bring to our attention?
No, I don't think so. That was just a calendar update. We will have a hearing next week. We'll probably take off the 17th, and then we will have something again scheduled for the 24th.
Okay. Rich Grow,
Nothing to report.
Rich Casey,
Nothing on the meeting. I just wish any mothers present or watching a happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
there you go.
I'd like to request of Matt, please, if the board can be provided a copy of that access agreement.
Yeah, definitely. We can share that tomorrow morning.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Good point, Julianne. Anything else? All right. Not having any other business, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn by Julianne,
Motion to adjourn, 7:42 PM.
7:42. Okay. Second by Jerry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.